Hey, hey, hey. Hope everybody's doing good. Carl Bryan coming at you. My boy Kenya Pat. Kenya Pat. How's it going, my man?
I'm doing well, but I got kind of sad news, Carl. My wife left me today, and you're laughing at my
Yeah.
pain. What am I putting up with?
I'm laughing. You're disappointed. My wife goes away and I drive her to the airport with a little bit of freedom. Actually, I take that back. I think you and I have talked about this, Pat. I'm like, how do you have such an amazing marriage? Maybe I just explained why I have a troubled marriage, which I don't have a troubled marriage. You guys know what I'm saying. But my
Yeah.
wife
Anyway,
my wife has multiple faults that she points out that I'm doing. So I'm sure some of the boys here can relate. But anyways, how was
yeah. Anyway,
Holly's
to
off
put
and
everyone
she's
at
safe and
ease,
all good?
she's put everyone at ease. She's coming back in 3 weeks, but she's gone to visit her mom in Colorado. So I'm here with the boys, and we're gonna eat a lot of meat and stay away from salad for about 3 weeks and
Yeah.
enjoy ourselves.
Nothing green. There we go. Well done, the
Very
boys.
little.
A little bit of camping, a little bit of take them out on the safari and go wrestle some lions and check out some
Oh heck
giraffes as you
no.
guys tend to do.
No, we'll have actually, there's the wildebeest migration in Masai Mara. There's like a million wildebeest. So we are going to try and stay in a Maasai village with my friend who's Maasai and see if we have that experience. So
Wow. There you go, man. There you go. Maybe for if I'm sitting here lost, I'm guessing everybody else is define. What is that? What are these? What is
okay,
this like a
so
try? What is it?
the Maasai are a tribe. Traditionally, to become a man, you had to kill a lion with a spear. So uh, these guys are not wimps. And today, even in
Yeah.
Kenya, if you have a Maasai guard at your gate, you know you're safe because no one's going to mess around with you. And they kind of like with a stick. I'm going to bring you one of these sticks. They're like a stick with a knobby end, and they're really dangerous. And they have a bow and arrow that everyone's afraid of. And these guys are really tough. So they run around out in the bush. There's lions around. There's wild animals, and they just live out there. And they keep cows. That's what they do. And um, a lot of what they eat is just like they'll drink the cow's blood with milk and mix it up, and it's kind of weird. But these guys are tough, tough as tough can be. So that's where we're going.
I made barbecue sauce last night, and I was impressed with my effort. There you go, eh? These guys are these killing like serious like a killing a lion is dead set. That was it. That's something they did. Rite
That
of
was how they
passage into adulthood.
that's how they became a man back in the day. Today it's
Gosh.
now like my friend, he's got a PhD, and I met him at Regent University in Virginia a long time ago. So educated. My other friend, he's a governor of a province here. He used to be my business partner. These guys are very sharp, very, very sharp people.
Yeah.
But not everyone gets educated. The governor, uh, his father has 7 wives, and he's got. I asked him how many brothers and sisters. He goes, well, it's about
There's so much
70.
I could say right now, Pat, but continue, man. Continue.
Yeah, they're called Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't know, but the
Oh
no,
my god.
I said, well, how many brothers and sisters you got? And he goes, well, I've got about 70, but it's rude to count.
Oh my goodness.
Different
A
way of
lot.
life.
So have you seen Coming to America too? Probably too big, probably not, but
I've seen number one, but not two.
yeah. Okay, number two. So part of it is that he goes out and he didn't have to kill a lion. He had to what was it? He had to get a whisker from a lion. So there you go. So it wasn't all this was not all
Wow.
wasn't that far fetched as I thought. So there you go. There you go. I love it. That's what you mean, Eddie Murphy's son in the movie. Anyways, moving right along. Well, there you go, guys. Little Kenyan history lesson. That was very
There you
interesting
go.
for me. Hopefully, you guys liked. But anywho, moving right along. So this is a Q and A call. It's not a history lesson on Kenya, although that was pretty cool. The Q, you guys provide the Q, we provide the A. So if you got a question, raise your hand, or just type it in the box. And of course, I can read it out because some of you aren't able to speak for whatever reason, which is all good. Before we get going, I'm going to open up somebody here. We got a bit of a special guest who we all love and adore. And he probably knows exactly who I'm talking about. Mr. Martin Howie is in the house. Pat and I both love Martin. Yeah, there you go. He's been instrumental in helping us with the software and over the last gosh knows how long. I learned a ton. Martin Howie, what's going on, bud? Are you there? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here, Carl. Good to hear your voice.
You bet, buddy. Been a while. How's it going in Martin Howie's world? What's happening?
Yeah, really good. Spent a week over in San Diego. Took 3 of our kids and their families. Spent some time over there, just relax and come back. We're ready to go.
Beautiful. Good stuff. Good stuff. Any words of wisdom for our fine folks here listening in, wanting a little bit of Martin Howie magic?
You know, I'll tell you, the LPW Coaches Facebook group is a place where there are a lot of really good nuggets dropped from time to time. And I would encourage everybody to go there on a regular basis and see what's there. If you have a question, if you have a comment, if you have something that could help somebody else, post it in there and then copy what you have. If you see something that's interesting or something that answers a question for you, copy that and then paste it into a Word doc and create your own swipe file. And put a title on it, whatever the title might be, how to get more clients or how to do something, whatever it happens to be, and build a little table of contents so you can go back to this. I have a book now that's, I've split it in 2, almost 800 pages now. So I have 2 volumes, one's 400 pages, one's 66 pages of just comments and things that I've commented on, or I've seen things that I really like. And I can go back if I need an idea or something, or I need an article. I can go back to this and I can access it and I can now use it for something else. So there's so many good things in there. And if you're not taking advantage of that website, of that Facebook group, you're really missing out on something.
Yeah. Martin, if I may, and first of all, see guys, we throw it to Martin and I say, he's the man. And then I say, words of wisdom, and he starts giving us kudos. So guys, we love Martin Howie, and that's part of why, not because he gives us props, by the way, but just because what a legend. He's been around this game, guys. He's been the Jay Abrahams and all the others, man. Martin's been around as long as those guys. But Martin, if I may, I want to make sure everybody heard what you said, what I think I heard. So you're saying, like, you go into the Facebook group and there's just a lot of magic dropped on a regular basis. And then not to mention in other very, if you follow Tony Robbins, you'd like to think there's some magic drop there, and maybe it's a Tim Ferriss and it's a Gary Vee and it's whoever else, right? Now, if they see something that's really, really clever, like let's say about a joint venture, and Martin Howie does one of his magic posts where it's like long, detailed, strategy based instead of tactical, which hopefully you guys know the difference there, right? Where we don't want tactical, we want to be thinking, strategy and then the tactics below it. But you see something that Martin puts and you think, my gosh, that is an unbelievable way of explaining a joint venture. Capture it, take it into your swipe file, which is just a Word document or a Google Doc or a Word doc, whatever you got, whatever your preference is, paste it. And that's not to say don't plagiarize Martin or me or Pat or anybody. That's lame. Take it, reword it in your own words. And then when you're on Tim Ferriss's page, when you're on Tony Robbins's page, Gary Vaynerchuk's and other heavyweights, and somebody asks a question in and around joint venture, go to your swipe file, search joint venture, find that post, think 80-20. You're going to have to adjust it 20%. Copy that you are now staring at is not perfect. So change it 20% to directly answer the person's question, drop it in the comment, and you're probably going to find that if you do that 10 times a day, you're going to have a couple personal messages that say, hey, I saw your answer. I really liked it. You're going to start, or they're going to reply to your comment. You're going to start a conversation. Then you can take it into direct messaging, get them on the phone and sell them high-end coaching. Martin, did I explain what you said correctly, or would you add, subtract,
No,
comment on
you
that?
did better than I could. I'm just looking at just one of my documents here, and just the table of contents. And
Oh, did
I'll
we
give
lose
you
you?
a couple of thoughts here. One of them
Did you
is
lose me? Pat,
reasons people don't buy.
oh, hang on, Martin, is that you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, so I saw something one time and it said, talking about reason why people don't buy from you. Well, so I have an article here called Reasons People Don't Buy. Here's another one.
Yep.
Here's another one.
Perfect.
Um,
Yep.
3 things to do right now. When clients get behind on their payments, that's another one. Somebody said, why am clients get behind on their payments? How do you handle that? So there were several different, not only just at LPW, but some other sites that I go to, and there were comments and people said, well, here's how I handle that. So I said, well, okay, how would I handle it? So now it gives me an opportunity, first of all, to clarify my thinking on that subject. Because when you write something out, it's different than when you just have it in the back of your mind, you're thinking about it. When you write it out, you have to write it out clearly so somebody else can understand it. Well, that clarifies my thinking. That's number 1. Number 2, it gives somebody else value that they can use. And number 3, it gives them my book. And now I have this book. So what I'm going to do is I'll take this book and I'm finished. There's 2 volumes. But when I get to 366 pages up to 400, I'll have 2 volumes. And I'll put those 2 volumes on YouTube, not YouTube, on Amazon, and I'll charge $2,500 for it. I don't care if I sell one of them. If I sell one of them, that's fine. If I don't sell it, these are the best ideas, the best thoughts, the best strategies I've come up with over a number of years. But the point is, I have 2 volumes here now that sell for $2,500. You don't believe me? Go look at Amazon. You want to join my program? I'll give you these as a bonus. Right? So this is a $2,500 bonus. So you can do the same thing. Suppose you came up with the best ideas you could find. You put them in a volume, in someplace, and now a business owner says, well, I'd really like to do this, but I'm just not quite sure. Listen, I'll tell you what I'll do. I've got a $2,500 bonus here that I'll just give you. These are the best ideas, the best strategies. So now you can give these kinds of things out for bonuses. So it doesn't matter whether you sell one or not. Jay Abraham says, well, I sell $25,000 an hour for my consulting. Well, really, Jay, that's okay. That's what you charge, but how many do you actually do? There's a difference between charging and getting, right? So the proof is, if you have a proof source like Amazon that says, oh yeah, it's sold here, it's on here for $2,500. Doesn't matter if you sell one or not. That's the value of it. Right? So be thinking about how you can take the ideas that are out there, what other people say, how can I use those ideas to help me in my business and help other people in their businesses? To generate some clients as well.
Very nice.
So what Martin did, folks, is he just took what I said and made it way better. But there you go. Follow what Martin says. I love it. I love it. And they could do it on YouTube. You could put that same product up on eBay. You could create a custom landing page, Martin's $2,500 program.com, a little bit of copy, a video in the middle that, delivers value. And so YouTube, and there's a bunch of different places you could put it in all, as opposed to just one, or consider that. There we go. Well, Martin, as always, never disappoint. Any other bits? So I asked for a bit of magic, man. We got it. Any other bits of magic from our boy?
Are you talking to me?
Yep.
Just anybody.
I sure am.
No, I would think this. There are 2 sales that you have to make. The most important sale you have is a sale to yourself. That what you have is of value to someone else, and that you can deliver. The second sale is a sale of your program to someone, but you've got to be sold yourself. So think about this for a minute. The last 4 letters of the word enthusiasm. I am sold myself. You sell yourself. You come across with enthusiasm because you understand that what you have is of value. And when you understand that and you charge for the value you provide, then you can raise your prices. So many of us are undercharging for the services we offer. It's not what you offer, it's a result that you create for somebody else. Is it more advantageous for them to stay where they are and keep that money in their pocket, or give it to you because you can take them to a place where they've never been before?
Yeah, I love it. If I could just, and the way, so if somebody's there listening and saying, yeah, okay, but I don't have 40 years of experience doing this and I'm somewhat new, what I'd encourage you to explore to sell yourself is that on a scale of 1 to 10, if you walk out the door and there's a chiropractor, there's a dentist, you know, the butcher, baker, candlestick maker, as I always say, there's a business owner there. What are the chances of them having their goals written down? If they do, which is, I'm going to tell you, it's about a 10% chance. And then the ones that do have goals written down, do you know what the goal is? To hit $1 million. And no doubt you guys have all heard my spiel on that. Trying to hit $1 million is stupid because you could hit your target and then lose money. You could hit your target and make almost nothing, right? So do they have their goals written down, and are their goals worthy of what they're up to? Like a way better goal would be to hit $500,000 and have $250,000 of profit, right? So I think we can all agree that they don't have the goals written down. And if you help them get some goals that were in line with a really good, strategic direction for their company, be a good idea. And then let's go time management. On a scale of 1 to 10, what are the chances of them following 80-20? Like doing the 20% of the things during the day that bring 80% of the value? What are the chances of them looking at their database and they have 100, like not database, but 100 clients, and then them going to the 20 clients that spent 80% of the money? And what are the chances of them, really building programs and giving some TLC to the 20 that represent the 80? And you probably know the answer, but I can tell you the answer. It's about a 3% chance that they're actually doing that, right? Again, could you bring value? Then not only think in time management, what about the day-to-day activities that we're doing? Pat and I talk often about, small hinges that wave big doors. Before do they wake up in the morning and just act, go to their emails, go to their phone, scramble, tactical, or do they approach their day with, look, these are the 3 things that I wanted to accomplish this quarter. What 3 things on my list of 19 to-dos today that they're never getting through, which 3 move the boat faster, move the needle towards those quarterly goals? And then are they prioritizing those 3 things, getting them done before 10 o'clock? And if you know anything about time management, you know that when you get really important things done before 10 o'clock, what ends up happening is you have one of those days where you go, holy shit, like, I can't believe how much I got done today, right? Like, you guys ever been on vacation? Of course you have. You're leaving Friday at 4. I can tell you that Friday is you between the morning and 3:59, the work that you get done, the productivity that you get done is just, it's mind boggling, right? Like, remember, what's the, Pat, maybe you can help me with this. What's the mental model where the work fits the time frame that we give it, right? Like they go to work from 9 to 5 and magically it takes them until 4:59 to get whatever they had on the to-do list, to reply to all the emails, to make the phone calls. But is that what you follow me on that one, Pat? That mental model, right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the name of it is, though. Sorry.
Yeah, that's cool. So, but the bottom line, guys, hopefully you're understanding that when you allot 2 hours to do something, it takes you 2 hours to do it. Think of going away on a vacation right at 4 o'clock up until 3:59. You magically get so much done because you had to get it done, right? But so the bottom line is that they're not following things like that. They don't have an upsell. They don't have a downsell. They don't have a cross sell. They don't have a proper upfront offer. And all I'm doing there is rattling off the profit jumpstart. So when Martin Howie says that, and then he says you have to be sold, and if you're honest with yourself, you're like, oh man, can I really help business owners? It's, I'd like to say that, Martin, Pat, and I have these superpowers, and we, got PhDs and spent 10 years in school, yada. That's not, obviously we've got, some experience here, and it's like tangible and, like real experience of helping people. But believe me, it's just not that hard to go earn your $1,000 to $2,000 a month with business owners. So don't be shy to really, really, really sell yourself. So Martin, could I just ask you, what do you think of that? Would you expand upon anything there, or what do you think? You agree?
I would just say this: if somebody's asking you, if you say, "Well, I don't have 40 years of experience," or what are your credentials? What is your credibility? Can you show me a website? If they're getting that far, you haven't done your job, because it has nothing to do with your credentials. It has to do. It doesn't matter to me if you've never worked in, I'm an attorney, I've never worked in for attorneys before, or a plumber before, or whatever my business happens to be. That means nothing to me. What matters to me is not the results you created for somebody else, but what can you show me that you can do for me? In other words, can you use that software that we have, which is an awesome program? If you can show me that tool and show me what you can do for my business, I don't care what you've done for anybody else. I don't care what your credentials are. I don't care if you have a high school or college or no school at all. What I care about is what can you do for me? Is it more advantageous based on what you've shown me? And Excel doesn't lie, by the way. What you show me in that program. If you can show me it's more advantageous for me to give you my money than it is for me to keep my money, I will go with you, regardless of what your credentials are. So if you're getting to the point where somebody says, well, what are your credentials? Do you have a website I could check out? That's a diversionary tactic that will take them away from doing business with you. So just be thinking about that. It has everything to do with what you can do for me, not what you've done for anybody else.
Yeah. I love it. Martin Howie, always a pleasure, my man. Appreciate you, bud.
Thank you, my friend.
No worries, buddy. Okay, there we go. So guys, again, actually, Pat, could I, guys, again, you got any questions? I see a couple hands up there. Q&A, but could I get, you know what we went through this morning here, Pat? Could I get you to show them just kind of where we're going with CRC and what that's now looking like? Would that be cool, Pat? You on board with that?
Yeah, sure, let's do that. Assuming you can see my screen here. So we've got resources here. And,
yeah, pretty good.
One of the challenges we've had with the resources over the last 6 months, whatever we've used, a year, whatever, we've had some criticism about it because people go, I can't find anything. And you know, if we hear something, if we hear a critique once, then we say thank you. We make a note of it. If we hear it twice, we take it very seriously. And if we hear it more than twice, then we go into action to really say, okay, how is this going to change? So what we've done is we've taken this, and we're not quite there. Probably this time next week we'll be able to roll it out to you. And but what we've done is, I'll just go into my staging software here, and we've come up with this scenario here. We're not sure about the colors, things like that, but you know, up here we had, I think, agreements. We've changed the order a little bit. But here we've got important LPW resources, live calls, the same thing as we have, but they're kind of like an FAQ. And so if you click on it, now you can see them very easily, what's right there. There's some of them that, see if I can find one. You see how easy it works, but let's say here, the grant program, you click on that, there's a whole lot of files under there. And so it's too much to put just on one page. Again, public relations, we got a few things there. So we'll probably move these arrows around. We might be changing some colors. We'll have a look at some things. But what I like about this now, you'll see a couple things. Let me go down to, let's say, agreements. We've got sample JV agreement. Of course, we got to drop down with a few more things. But let's say I go through the list and I go, oh, the return on investment guarantee conditions. So this file, for example, is really important because you say, hey, I'm going to guarantee you a 200% ROI as long as you implement to the level that we mutually agree upon. Great closing, great way to close a deal. But there are also some conditions as well. And we got 16 conditions here. Like, for example, if they don't show up for regular meetings, you know, that ROI is going to be canceled. The guarantee is canceled at least. But what you can do here, maybe you like that. You come over here and you start. There's a nice blue color there and theme with our software. And you can.
Well done.
Now, we've got a little glitch, so I'll show you that briefly. It's one of the things we want to fix before we release. But now you go to favorites bar, and lo and behold, there's no favorites because it's a glitch. Now let me go back here because it was working an hour ago. It was when we were doing that. Going on. It was working an hour ago. So it's obviously not working now. I think Kelvin, this is my guess, Carl, is that James, it's actually James, our new guy. He's working on this.
Right now.
So he's probably working on it tonight. Yeah. So anyway, you'll be able to click on favorites. Your favorites will be right there. So trust me when I say trust.
They were there. They were there an hour ago for sure. We all saw them. So
the other thing is here we have a search bar. So if we search for email, any file with email is in it right there. If we search, let's say JV, like I want to find the JV files. You search on them. Anything with a JV is right there. So it's going to be so much easier to find things just with that search bar. And ideally, you'll be able to then as well, you'll be able to save them as a favorite. So I'm a little surprised this was working an hour ago when I was showing Carl and Adrian. And oh, there it is there. That one's working. So Ask the Expert call recordings. James is probably working on this as we speak here and not letting me know. But radio interview script, let's highlight that. There, that's working. So there's probably it's a little glitchy. So we'll get this all fixed up, and I'd like to hear your comments on this maybe as well. And we're wondering if these are the right colors here, if it should be a different color. What do you guys think?
There we go. Well done. Well presented, boss. Well presented. There was something. Oh, I'm sorry if I missed this. Sorry, could you open up one of the more impactful areas? I want to make sure you explain this. Just go there. Maybe important joint ventures. Okay. Did you explain like the G is basically a sales page? Like one's a Word document, one's a PowerPoint, etc.
There you go. So you see, these are just icons. It's a Word document. We come to a link, which would be a web link. These are PDFs. This would be a PowerPoint. So it just shows you right away what it is. And so you can know what it is before you click on it. So
yeah, there we go. That's the idea. And then you did show them the one where we're moving the down arrow to the right-hand side so that they can see.
Yeah, let me find it. So agreements. Like right now, arrow here. What we're going to do is have the arrow on the right side of the words pointing down.
You show them why if you could. Did you click it? Yeah, there you go. There you go.
So yeah, we had this. I guess it's like an FAQ, but they're really like an accordion table, I guess they call them. So we have James, our new guy. He's been with us for about a month, and we've just thrown him in the deep end and say, learn the software by creating it. And he's stepping up to the plate, and I guess he'll have this done in a day or so, and we're going to put him on a big 3-month project, which everyone will drool over. Can't say what it is yet, but it'll be a drool-worthy project.
That is it. Drool-worthy, folks. You heard it here first from the guy that's going to wrestle lions on the weekend with his kids. Okay, Kevin Foster, we're coming for you. You're self-muted, buddy. Got to unmute yourself.
Okay,
Kevin Foster. There we go. Kevin, you're live. How you doing?
Nice to meet you all. I'm very new to the program, and I've been playing with the PAS software, and I saw somewhere a little bit about editing, and I just had a question regarding the reports. So if I download the reports and I go through and edit the first couple of pages, the covers and all, with my own logo and my own information, when I go through with actual clients, what do I do? Download the reports and then just substitute those pages into the reports so I don't have to do it over and over again? Is that the best way to do that?
Yeah, Kevin, great question. Let me just give a little background on this. First of all, the reason the reports aren't perfect right now. They look great when you look at them like this. The challenge is that we had our primary developer, William, on this for like 6 or 8 weeks, trying to perfect it how it goes into a Word document. And the challenge is that we have these images and we're trying to lay text over top of images, and it just wasn't laying out correctly. So that's why we have these instructions, not just here. Have you seen the video instructions?
I did, and I don't know where that is. I saw it once, and then I don't know where it is now. I couldn't find it.
Okay. So go into training, and you have the software training. It's going to be there, and it'll be down the side here, editing the software report.
Okay, there it is. Okay.
Yeah. So that's where you find it. The issue with the report, we want to get this fixed, but we got to free up William first to do it, and we'll probably simplify it a lot. But the deal with the report is, think of it this way. Instead of taking 2 weeks to write a report, it'll take you now an hour or 45 minutes. So the first time you do it, you download the report. You're going to have to go through and just follow the instructions. You're going to have to create a template. And with your fonts, you go through, because you'll see some of the fonts are different and the layouts aren't perfect. So you'll create a template. And then when you have a new client, let's say it's ABC Bakery, you save your template as ABC Bakery, and then you'll come through and just change your numbers, what you change. So when I create a template, what I want to do is have all 12 areas in the template. So then I can just delete what the impacts we don't find, rather than trying to add the ones we do find. And then coming through and editing the graphs or things like that, or inserting graphs. So it's not perfect. I apologize for that. Going forward, we want to make it so it's just automatic and it comes out brilliant. But we burned about 6 weeks trying to make it first, and we wanted to get the main software out to you. So does that answer your question, or do you have something else specific?
I think so. I think that answers it. I'm not exactly sure until actually I get into and work with it. I'm kind of a doer type guy, so
yeah, okay.
I get my hands on it, and then I do it. And then the roadmap, when I print out the roadmap, is the roadmap intended to be attached to the report?
No, the roadmap's completely different. You want to use the report. Yeah, you want to use the report as a sales tool. You give the report before you close them. Once you've got them as a client, you'll use the roadmap. You'll see it's, like in this case, it's a $618,000 map, because that's the number of amount of revenue we found. What we're trying to do here is give you basically a roadmap of, here's what we're going to do. You're not going to give away too many details, but you're going to give away the timeline and the impact, and you kind of give people a general idea of where you're going. This one prints out fairly nicely, I believe. But they don't mix. But here's the thing as well, Kevin, that you can take this and you can create your own template, what you like to do, your own roadmap. You can brand it any way you want. You can take out our images. We got some images in here. I think in our next round, we're definitely taking out like this big, I don't know if we need this big swooping arrow, the yes, whatever. You can take them out if you want. You can keep them. These little white guys, I don't think they belong here anymore. So we'll come up with something a little better and more easily printable, I think, as well. So feel free to do what you like. We spent, Carl and Adrian and I spent days and days and days looking at every single word. So if you're not sure, go with what we've got. If you think you can do better, by all means, go for it. New words, new design, new copy, whatever you like. But
actually, Pat, can I expand upon that, if I may?
Please do.
So,
please do.
Guys, when you're why? What do we mean by that? So, I used to. Back in the day, I'd sit with a high-end coaching client, and obviously I had lots of coaches, right? So they'd be sitting with high-end coaching clients. And every once in a while, you'll get that magical maybe, right? I've got a very, very firm belief that you don't leave. What you do in that moment, like after the consultation, is don't do your best. You do what it takes, right? So whatever it takes to close it in that moment, Nabil might be here, but you guys might remember probably a couple months ago now, I opened up Nabil. He was about to close a high-end coaching client the next day or the day after. I said, maybe do this. He closed a client that was going to be, I can't remember, like 30 odd grand. And he turned it into a 60 odd grand at the back of a little bit of, advice that we went back and forth on this call. So basically, you do what it takes. So what we told Nabil to do is, rather than go in and price it at like $3,500 a month or whatever he had decided that he was going to go with, I said, well, why don't you do this? You want to get the deal done. You want to get it done in the moment. Make it $5,000 a month, 60 grand a year, but do a ramp up. So make month one, and I can't remember the number. Let's assume I said start at 2,500, which is going to be easier to close than at 3,500. But then make the next month 3 grand, then 35, then 4, then 45, then 5 grand a month. Okay, so he got a $2,500 credit card to close a $60,000 client, right? The reason I went off on that, when I say don't do your best, do what it takes. Whatever it takes to close that client in the moment, do that. Let's say that you're really new and you're $997 a month and you just want to get some runs on the board and a little bit of success. If you're sitting with somebody, do 200 month one, 400, 600, 800, and then 997. If you're 2 grand a month, do, if required, 500, 1,000, 1,500, and then 1997, right? Rather than I'm going to speak to my wife. Okay. That's important part of the next part of my answer towards this profit acceleration summary. If you do get a maybe, I hope that you don't. Rather than get a maybe, I would do what I just said. But let's assume that they got to speak to your wife. You can't convince them. The clock just turned to the hour. You got to go. They got to go. They got to hang up. You got to pick up your goodies and leave. So basically, I put together this document. I used to call it a yes document. And look, it worked pretty well. All things, I had never really seen anything work. So after I'd put together the yes document and very carefully crafted all of the words and whatnot, like Pat just said, we would send through the yes document, and then we'd either get in front of them and present it. And in a last case scenario, we'd email it over and say, please read through this. We'll jump on the phone and then see where we go. This yes document worked pretty good, all things considered, but don't expect magic. So the wording that you're looking at here, Pat, if you could just scroll up a touch. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, the other way. Sorry. If I'm sitting there working, trying to convince you right there. So when we accept you as a client, Dave, have a look at your screen, guys, if you're able to. After we work together, and the anticipation is that we'll get here in about 12 months time. The world, we're not going to be able to create magic in a week, right? So don't put that kind of pressure on yourself or me or our relationship. Otherwise, we're not going to get to the numbers that you see in the top right hand corner that look a lot like 353,000. Your marketing is going to be unique. We're going to create a market dominating position that's going to help you totally stand out. So instead of a unique selling proposition that helps you stand out, we're going to create a market dominating position that basically solves a problem. Okay. So think piping hot pizza in 30 minutes or less, or it's free. Obviously that's Domino's from back in the day. That solves a problem, because if you know the story of Domino's, they sold to stoned college kids in college dorms, and they were going to be asleep in an hour and a half. So that was too long. So they had to get the pizza to them ASAP, or it was going to be free. And that's very attractive to a college student. That's a market dominating position. When it absolutely positively has to be there the next day, that's FedEx. That's an example of a market dominating position where it solves a problem, as opposed to, being red, blue, on time. All those things are about being unique, but market dominating position is going to solve a problem. Number 2, we're going to be concise, being super clever. Like, what's the name of the battery that has the bunny? And there's a really good chance they say Duracell, right? Well, guess what? The name is Energizer, but most people don't know. What they were is like super clever, spent many, probably $100 million on that campaign. And if you speak to the marketing department at Energizer, they'll tell you it wasn't that good because it was a little bit of a confusing message, not tight enough. Everything that you're going to do is going to be super tight. Number 3, we're going to you guys get where I'm going. All I'm doing is going on 1 through 16. And believe me, once I'm done 16, and I probably don't even need to get there, because after about 10 minutes, they're like, when can we get started on this? So that's an example of why the verbiage is there and what Pat means. Could you just scroll down a little bit more? And then again, when we accept you as a client, remember, a true mentor can tell you what not to do, right? Singing Kumbaya and telling them how wonderful the world's going to be, that's not the approach that I encourage you to take. You want to stand against, right? So I actually had some heavyweights on the phone earlier today. I was doing a bit of a presentation. Before I started, I've done this 10,000 times, guys. Before I started, I made a note of 10 things. I created a Post-it note. In fact, I created 2 Post-it notes, put them on my computer. And they were 10 things that I stand against. And I made sure throughout the conversation that I basically, at the end of the conversation, and they went, that's a very different conversation we've had with most people. If I go by what they said, they were impressed. I think the reason they were impressed is I wasn't singing Kumbaya and telling them how exciting it's going to be and how much I can't wait to work with them and the blue skies and all the money that everybody's going to make. I talked about standing against, right? I think you guys have all heard me talk about that. I encourage you to talk in that manner. So have a look at your next bit of list here. Your marketing's not going to contain boring platitudes. And then I would start this like a true mentor can tell you what not to do. Let me give you an example of some of the things we're not going to do. We're not going to confuse being busy with being successful, right? We're not going to fall into the trap of analysis paralysis. Our goal isn't to be busy. Our goal is going to be productive. Anyways, I could continue on. The 3 reasons to say yes. And if we just go down a little bit more, please, Pat. Together, everybody achieves more. And there's, again, 3 reasons that you're going to see, say yes. And you'll just see 3 of them. So when Pat says that we labored on that and whatnot, that's why we did it, because we thought this document, we want it to be created, worded in a way that it would actually take somebody from a maybe to a yes. But do understand, don't expect magic with this. If you don't close it in the moment, there's a real good chance you're not going to be able to. But this document's going to help you get some deals confirmed and some deals done with 1,000,000% certainty. So a little bit of homework for all of you, because maybe what I just went over, you're like, well, I never even looked at that. I would go through and I would have a look at this. Notice he's on its summary, not the roadmap. This is the summary. Have a read through the summary and have a look at some of the language and consider stealing some of that language to use when you're speaking to folks. Like, when we work together, here are the 12 things that are going to happen. When we work together, here are the things that aren't going to happen. So, Pat, how did I do there? Would you expand upon anything there?
No,
Can I jump in with a question, please?
Yeah,
yes,
please do, buddy.
Okay, so saying yes to your roadmap, but you haven't given him the roadmap. So you're telling him to say yes, and then you're going to get the roadmap?
Yeah, that's okay. Great question. This is the frame, okay? That Kevin, you are the chiropractor, and I'm trying to close you, right? I go through the Profit Jumpstart, and I find you 300 grand, and I say, Kevin, we didn't cover any rocket science here, and the good news is you walk into McDonald's and you think they're this massively successful company. The truth is they do the fundamentals well, right? A professional athlete does the fundamentals well. With business, it's the same thing. The problem that you have is that, you're a horrible boss and a worse team member, right? Inside your own head. You need some accountability. You need a set of eyes outside your own company so that we can look in and help you with things like 80-20 and when you're confusing being busy with being successful. So, and then I would go to ROI. Pat, could you hit ROI for us? And then I would do my close and I'd convince you to pay me, let's say $19.97 a month, 24 grand a year. And I would just say, Kevin, do you want to exchange $353,000 for $19.97 a month? Cancel at any time if you'd like. We'll go month to month. Cancel me at any time. What do you think? And then you're going to say yes or no. You say no, I can just export this and send it over. You're going to say maybe. I'll say, look, let me put together the report is here, but I want to clean it up a little bit. And there's some stuff I want to add. I'll do a little bit of work on it tonight. It's going to take me a few hours. Today's Tuesday. I'll tell you what, I'll have it in your inbox Thursday before close of business. And then that's when the summary would come out. And if you say no, part of the deal is when I rolled up that I was going to provide you this roadmap to find 100 grand in 45 minutes without spending $1 on marketing or advertising. I export it. I put my name on there. I spend about 3 minutes cleaning it up. I press send, and it's in your inbox, and I follow through on everything that I said I was going to do. When I partnered with the accountant and told him that I would find his clients $100,000 in 45 minutes without spending $1 on marketing or advertising, and provide them all roadmaps to do so. Follow? Makes sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you're calling this report the roadmap, really, until you get a yes on there for the engagement. And then the roadmap 100%. Is going to be a little bit more detailed, that you can go ahead and just totally map out your coaching engagement with them.
That's it. It's exactly. You're going to send it through to them. This case now, they said yes at 1997. I'm sending through the roadmap in the order in which I see us starting. Pat, if you could hit priorities for us. There you go. And again, and Kevin, you might have different. Pat, can you just whip some of those around? Like, hey, upsell, move it down, move it up, increase. There you go. Like you move this stuff around if you so choose. But this is the roadmap. We save it. That roadmap is now adjusted. Pat's movements there.
Let's have a look and test it. A live test. So we have market dominating position, compelling offer, alliances and joint ventures, and then cut costs, increase prices. So if it's not live, we're going to have some talk with William. So kind of
this works. Yeah, let's have a look. But I've played with this.
Market dominating, compelling offer, alliance, joint ventures, cut costs, increase prices. There you go.
There you go.
So,
and then maybe actually just because Pat, if you could you now hit implementation? So that was priorities. Okay, and just actually, sorry, could you go back to priorities for me? Sorry. Now, if you're wondering how did we come up with the weighting, market dominating position is higher because if you help them create the market dominating position, all the other stuff's going to work better. Okay, so it's basically automatically ranked higher. Notice compelling offer is underneath that. Like, notice how compelling offer is above joint ventures, because if you go to an accountant and you want to form a joint venture, if you go to the accountant and you tell them you're going to help transform businesses, like, I'm really going to help your businesses, man. I'm going to leave no stone unturned. I'm really going to ship these people. They're not going to know what's going to come. It's going to be amazing. That's the way the average business coach is talking. Again, singing Kumbaya and fluffy clouds. So rather, if you have a compelling offer, and I think I know a really good one, like, how about we're going to find any business owner $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra $1 on marketing or advertising? That's going to dramatically impact your ability to get a joint venture done. So that's why compelling offer is above joint venture, because you do that first. But if for whatever reason they are hell-bent on, they're a personal trainer and they need a relationship with a gym and they got a guy who's ready to rock, just take it, and Pat, can you just lift that above? There we go, Kevin. There's your roadmap. Press save, and basically it's all good. So when you see the 497 million weighted algorithmic sequences, that's part of that. Okay. Kevin, how am I doing? Is that helping?
Yes, you are. So
and then go ask questions.
So I'm under with Malcolm and
beautiful legend
Kevin, getting some really good advice here. And what I'm hearing is that when we're actually doing the presentation, to try to not go through the 12, just to go through like 5 of them or so.
Yeah, 100%.
So what you guys are recommending as well?
Yeah, 100. Look, it'd be great to go through all 12. You're just not going to have time, and it's not necessary. So, like a button's going to, like, as an example, a button's going to be coming in the very near future. See where it says print in blue there? Right beside that, you're going to be able to click a button, and you're going to be able to populate everything to 5, everything to 3, everything to 10. So you'd go through 3 or 5, and then you're going to click that button. It's going to take everything to 5, so you can go, look, if we can make a 5% improvement in all 12 of the areas, this is going to be the result.
Right.
Okay, so the answer is yes, but that's an example of some of the things that are going to be coming, and that's the reason why we're creating it, so that you could do both, right? You're going to do 3, 4, 5, but you're going to be able to populate all 12 at the click of a button.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, that will really be helpful, I think. I think it'd be very, very
Yeah,
helpful.
it's a needle mover. That's like close to the, but we got some big, we got group, or we have some other stuff that's going to be dropped here. Like something's getting dropped in 2 hours to our certified guys. So I hear you, Kevin. That's coming. If I could just do one more thing with you, Kevin, because it's not just for you, but everybody listening. Could you hit implementation for me, please, Pat? And then really important, Kevin, if you haven't seen this and everybody else, maybe just hit the settings. Some have seen it and some haven't. Could you hit settings for me first? Hit settings, and this is like an email out to your clients. How often are you getting together? Every 2 weeks, Wednesday, meeting time wouldn't be 6:23, but whatever time you're going to put. You're going to put your time zone, meeting reminders. You're going to say 3 days before, the day before, and the hour before. You're just going to tick those boxes, Kevin. But if you think like that's a bit of overkill, you'll just click a couple of them. And then you got an online meeting, an in-person meeting, and a phone call meeting. Depends on how are you doing it, right? So you'll click that. Then you'll press save, and all that will be populated and come out to your client. So now we're going to click hide settings, Kevin, just up above there. That disappears on you. And now you might be thinking, I would imagine, that, okay, market dominating position. I love it. I want to solve problems for my clients. I agree that, being red or being blue is kind of lame. It's unique, but it's not going to get anybody anywhere. I want to solve problems for folks. How would Pat do it? Click market dominating. Pat's going to hit market dominating position, the icon beside it. And on the right-hand side, you got step-by-step how to do a market dominating position right there. And then on the left-hand side, and this is something else it's at the top of the list for the guys, but we're going to be making this coaching section much tighter. That's going to be coming. But you see on the left-hand side, Kevin, where you've got what we worked on last session, actions they still need to complete, biggest wins of the past week, biggest challenges, and you can add another. This is how you're doing the coaching with your client.
I'm really glad you showed me that, because I was wondering where that was, because that was talked about in one of the other videos that I saw, but I didn't know how to access those questions.
Yes. Okay. Now, Pat, could you please hit summary for me and just scroll up? Okay. So Kevin, and this isn't just for you, it's for the benefit if you're thinking and wondering this, there's lots of others. Sorry, could you scroll up? Sorry, buddy, so that I can see the top. Now, if you're wondering, what did I just do, Kevin, as a framework and to make this intuitive for yourself, on the left-hand side, there are 12 areas. So go like from bottom to top. Cutting, could you just highlight cutting costs, bundling, upsell, please? Those are the 12. Okay, I want to find you 100 grand, Kevin. I'm going to do it in those 12 areas. I'm going to find Pat 100 grand. I'm going to do it in those 12 areas. I'm going to find, Richard Branson 100 grand. I'm going to go to those 12 areas. Okay, so I just up and down those 12 to find your 100 grand. And then what I did is I just went across the top. Now, could you just highlight priorities, implementation, reports, meeting notes for me, please? Maybe from the other, from the right-hand side. I think it's going to be easier, buddy.
Nope, can't highlight them.
Now you'll be able to. Oh, there you go. Okay, there you go. So now I just went across the top, and you've got dashboard, like in order of what I said, Pat, can you hit priorities? Pat, can you hit implementation? And then I would hit the report, and then you know what I mean? Like it's somewhat intuitively going left to right. But very importantly, when it's close time, you hit ROI for sure. But we're kind of going from left to right in terms of, priorities and implementation, and that all culminates in a report. So I hope that's helpful, just to kind of as a framework, Kevin, to understand what it is that you're looking at. And digital acceleration is the same. And then the software, software we develop in the future will run along the same lines. That help?
It does. It helps quite a bit. Thank you very much.
All right, that's cool. And what do you think? We're doing good. Any other questions for us? It was a long question or long answer to a simple question.
That's probably pretty good right now. So yeah, I mean, it is really powerful software. I'm really looking forward to getting into it. So
good. Awesome. And just follow what Kevin and Malcolm are telling you to do. If they say jump, just say how high. They have got a track record. Just follow the advice, and you'll be in great hands there, Ross.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, Kevin, thanks, man. I'm going to put you back on mute, and Scott has got his hand up. Where are you? Scott Proposky, we are coming for you. Scott, if you're there, you're self-muted, my friend. Okay, Scott, I'm going to keep you unmuted, Scott, in case you want to, if you can work it out. And Vincent Fears, I think my buddy Vincent, we couldn't open you last time. There he is. His hand goes up. Vincent, I'm not sure, man, at your end, your hand is just permanently up. Last week, we kind of went back and forth. So, Vincent, if you got a question, just plunk it in the chat box, buddy, and we'll get it answered for you. Okay, Scott. Once again, Scott, if you're there, buddy. Anybody else? Let's have a look here. They got a new name here. I like the funky names. And look at this. Cassie. I'm going to make a mess of this, but Cassie Omohundro. Cassie Omohundro. See? Very cool name. I'm the guy with two first names, so I get all this jealousy going on when I see a cool name. So Cassie, we're trying to open you up to say hello. You are so, there she is. Cassie.
Hi, how are you? And you said that correct as well.
Did I?
Good.
Yes, you did. Omohundro.
Hang on, say it again. You say it much smoother.
Omohundro.
Omohundro. There we go.
Correct.
Omohundro. What nationality is that? Actually, let me guess. Actually, Pat, you guess first. See how I do.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I was gonna...
The name is from India.
Oh, is it?
Okay.
Oh, cool. Are you Indian?
No. Neither
aren't
is
you?
my husband or any of his family. Long
Well,
story.
we were about to have a conversation about cricket in front of everybody because I love cricket, and Sachin Tendulkar is my favorite cricketer, and he happens to be an Indian legend. Makes Michael Jordan look like a lightweight in terms of popularity in India, by the way, folks. And he's a legend. But enough about that. Cassie, how's it going? Any questions?
Very good. I actually do have a question. On that implementation tab, is there a way or to determine how many weeks or what would be a guideline or a gold standard for the number of weeks to allocate for each item?
Right now, like you do that in the priorities, and you could change them in here.
Sure, I saw that. I just didn't know how many weeks to allocate.
It's kind of based on the wisdom that you bring to the table, size of the business that you're dealing with, and maybe some other factors as well. So I would just say what you could do is you go into the implementation calendar, and let's say you have a look at market dominating position, and you look at all these things here. You say, okay, I'm going to work with this client. Like this one, review the results. That's 5 minutes, help their understanding, maybe 10 minutes. That's the first session. Now you're going to dive deeper with research. So how long is that going to take? It depends on the size of the business. It could be a week or two. It depends if you're helping them do it or if they're doing it. But you've got to have this before you go to brainstorm. And the brainstorm could take a week or two. You might get it done in one session. But you're doing it all the way through it, and you've got to establish policies around it. So I would say there are a minimum of 6 weeks to do that. Certainly going to be longer if it's a bigger business. But what you could say is, look, if you're just doing this with a client or a prospect, you might put 4 to 6 weeks in everything. I got 2 weeks for cut costs because you might be able to handle that in a couple of weeks. But I put 4 to 6 weeks for everything, and you might say, Mr. Business Owner, right here we're just kind of spitballing this. It's a rough estimate. In reality, we might be able to do a couple of things at the same time. There might be some things take longer than others. but this is a ballpark of how we're going to implement this. And does that sound fair? And they're going to go, absolutely. So
Yep.
yeah, it's really a ballpark.
Okay, Pat, Cassie, before we throw it back to you, Pat, could I just chime in with something that I think, like when they're first, could you just scroll up? Could you go back to the weeks, if you could, please, priorities? Okay, one of the challenges that you guys might fall into, okay, Cassie, so if you take 6 weeks and put 6 in each of them, when you hit the roadmap, okay, so now hit, you see, assume you got 6 in each of those, right? No need to change it, Pat, it's all good, right? Okay, there we go. Now press save. Now go to implementation for us. Now, one of the challenges you're going to have is the numbers aren't going to look as sexy, okay? Because actually, no, but I want to take her to ROI, Pat, if you could. So the ROI is going to be based on 1 year, okay? So because you dragged it out a little bit and put 6 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 weeks, you'll notice how there's a $257,000 profit there, and that's different from the total profit impact of 353. If you're wondering why that is, it's because a lot of this stuff is going to get done in year 2 because you went 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. If Pat goes back and he puts everything in 2 weeks, you're going to see that bar graph, the return on investment is going to dramatically increase because it's going to appear that you're going to get more done in the first 12 months. And with that being said, and that's not that we're fudging anybody, things can get done simultaneously, right? So, yeah, there you go. Like if you do, okay. So see, he just put 50 weeks in there. Okay, so you're going to save. So when he goes to ROI, it's going to look very unsexy. So that's why I don't look at 60. Like they're only going to make 69 grand. You see that, Cassie?
I do.
So when I'm doing the implementation, it might be 6 weeks, and I'm not sure, Pat, if you'd agree, but I kind of like the framework of 4 weeks for something that's going to be dragged out. Many can be done in 1 and 2. It just depends what they've got in place and your talents. But I'd be inclined to say use 4 as a guide, and then you know that you're going to be able to get 12 things done in a 12-month period when you go to the ROI. Because I don't want to go to the ROI and get surprised. Let's put it that way, right? So if I did, 4 weeks for everything, that would take me to 12 weeks, and then my numbers would be, pretty consistent in ROI with the top right-hand part of the screen.
Okay.
Pat, would you agree? Add anything there?
Well, I just think from experience, in the end, you're not going to be able to get these things implemented appropriately and establish policies and all that in 4 weeks. So it does make the calendar look, you're going to make everything go in a lot shorter. But I think what might happen is, like my issue with this would be
expectations.
They're going to say, yeah, expectations, get it done. We should be working on, like right now, it's week 9. We should be on alliances and joint ventures. We're still back here. What's wrong with you? So,
so guys, there's a balance between what Pat said and what I said. So you just gotta ad lib, right? But you no doubt you guys can see. Cassie, does that help? What would you say?
I think it's very helpful, and I think the biggest takeaway, aside from the way that the graph looks at the end, which is a great tip, was just tailoring it to the client. Like I'm working with somebody right now who's brand new, and I can probably implement faster with them because they aren't as busy as somebody more established. So very good information. I appreciate it very much.
Awesome. Cool. All right, Cassie. Well, welcome to the crew. This is your first time. Your name looks new. Are you new to the Profit Acceleration calls?
I am new. It's probably my second or third call.
No,
nice.
There we go. See, we're on the ball around here, Cassie. You can't tell us we're not on the ball.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate you, Cassie. Awesome.
Yeah,
Great
likewise.
Name. All right. See that she said likewise at the end? She said she likes my name. There you go. The man with 2 first names is getting props from Cassie, guys. You heard it here first.
Let it go to your.
I won't. Trust me. I get called Brian. I tell you, I get called Brian. Ridiculous consistency. Hang on. What happened to the pudding company? Yeah, Brett's just asking, what if we put them on an 18-month contract instead of 12? It wouldn't matter, Brett, because the software gives you a return on investment over a 12-week period, right? So, or sorry, 12-month period, 1 year. So that wouldn't, hoping you guys get that. So he's just asking, what if you did 18 weeks instead of 12? It wouldn't, that's, you know, because it's actually, it's ongoing, because there is no end in sight. When you go to the implementation, you're just going to keep going until they say uncle. But the return on investment is for 12 months, FYI. So there we go. Pat, what do you think, buddy? Any words of wisdom here before we let our fine folks go?
Well, I've said it before, you know, a few hundred times, but, you know, you just see me like coming around the software here, and I'm just clicking buttons and seeing what's going on. And, you know, the more time you spend around here clicking buttons and jumping around, the more you'll just get to know it and just do it really quickly. So I just say, yeah, just get it in practice. And the more you do that, the better you'll know it. So the easier it'll be.
Cool. Love it. All right. Pat, we all appreciate your magic, buddy, and all the fine folks here. Thank you for playing full out, asking some great questions and playing along. And we will see you. It's Thursday today, so we'll see you next week, Tuesday, same time, same place. Thanks so much, folks, and have a great weekend.